Yo, what's up, everybody? Today we're gonna be ranking Ninjago seasons. Now, I know this is a very controversial topic. I mean, if you say your opinion on some Ninjago seasons, especially the early ones, you might as well give your opinion on a shit like abortion. It's very controversial. Honestly, politics is probably politics will probably like result in you having less chaos in your comment section. Fun actually ranking the Ninjago seasons. I don't know how true that is, but yeah. So let's jump straight into this. But before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe, and maybe leave a comment as well. Who knows? Anyway, let's start off with the pilots. Now, one thing I'll say is that the pilots do feel kinda rushed. Now, obviously, I do understand why that is. They obviously had to get the green light from Lego, and they only had a 45-minute special to do it. But especially the second episode, or I guess the third and the fourth, it depends on how it was released in your country, felt very rushed. You know what I mean? So I don't think I can put it much higher than B tier. I think I think it's kind of like your average Ninjago installment. So I think B tier kind of works for it. Now, Rise of the Snakes, Season 1. Now, I do really like this season. One thing this season does really well is kind of give focus to every ninja. Obviously, they all unlock their true potential. Nia has something with Samurai Eggs. Garmat and Nagu have some stuff to do. Lloyd, obviously. Like, everything happens. I like the concept. I like the villains. I think it's a pretty solid season. It kind of lacks the more quality later seasons have in storytelling and stuff, if that makes sense. But it makes sense because it's season one. I don't think it's S tier. Maybe we'll again. This isn't the final rankings. I'm gonna change them at the end most likely. But I think A tier is pretty good for season one. Now this isn't in order, by the way, so I don't know why. Yeah, but this is season two. Now a lot of people don't like season two's filler episodes. I think they were good for what they were supposed to be, right? And they made sense in the context of the story. But I do like some of them. I think, like even the hated ones like Pirate versus Ninja and Double Trouble, I think they're good. Uh, Obviously, there are some that are better than others. But the second part with the Overlord is really good. I don't really have that much complaints about this season. Like some parts did feel a lot like filler, and it felt like it did certain stuff worse than the first season did. I don't think it's as good as the first season. I don't know if that's a hot take, but I kind of feel like it has way too many good moments to not be on the same tier, if that makes sense. I think that makes sense. Alright, so now we're gonna move on to season 3 rebooted. Now, as you'll know, Ninjago was supposed to end after season 2, but they made the decision to go with a third season. Now, this season is very short. It's only not 3 episodes. That would be wild. It's only 8 episodes. Now, I don't think this really harms the story. I mean, 8 episodes, 10 episodes, pretty much the same. I mean, obviously, those other two are 13, but whatever. Um, I like the focus on Zane. Zane is one of my favorite characters in the show, so I think his sacrifice was really good. Bringing back the Overlord, I don't think that was the best decision, but I don't mind it too much. The whole thing with the Golden Master and Python returning, all that was good. The aesthetic was really good, but I really struggle to know where to put this season uh, because of certain stuff. Now, obviously, it has the love triangle, and I don't really fuck with that. But there are a lot of good stuff. I mean, Lloyd with his golden power, Sensei Garmaton. That it has a lot of great stuff in it. But there's also like a lot of other stuff I just felt are just not there. I think I'm gonna put it below the pilots at B tier. I think that's pretty good for now. Uh, these are gonna change so drastically. By the end of this, I may put it here, or I may put it here. I don't know yet. But for the time being, we're gonna go at season 4. Where is season 4? I don't know. Here it is. Okay, season 4 is one of my favorite Ninjago seasons, and it's going straight into S tier. Now, ironically enough, season 4 is the first Ninjago season I ever saw when I was a kid at the TV. I wasn't a kid at the TV, but I watched it in the TV when I was a kid, and it was really amazing. I have so many nostalgic memories of it, but it's not just the nostalgia, because upon rewatch, it really has a lot to love about this season. It expands the world a lot. It gives many interesting powers. The villains are great. Chen is just a straight up psychopath. Love that. Klaus is interesting. Garment on Sacrifice, great. I think like a lot of stuff about this season are just really good. I think it blows all the other seasons. Not necessarily out of the window, but I think it's definitely S tier. I don't know. It isn't my favorite Ninjago season. It is a lot of people's. You're gonna see what my favorite Ninjago season is, but I'm pretty sure it is second. So after season 4, it is time for season 5, and you know, obviously a lot of people say it's even better from season 4. I don't know if I would say that, but it's definitely another S tier. Like at this point, they were kind of like on a roll with peak storytelling. Like this is just. It was obviously a different approach. Obviously, every single season basically has its own unique theme and story. But I really like what happened in this season as well. Lloyd got possessed, it moved his character arc, Lloyd's character arc, of course. The other ninja had a lot to do. Nia finally became a ninja. She had a really good character arc. Moro is basically Tai Lang, but I think in the story of Ninjago it kind of fits to have a Tai Lang like character. So there's really nothing wrong with this season at all. I just don't think it's as good as season 4. Now that may be nostalgia, but I don't know, certain parts of it isn't as memorable for me, so I cannot put it higher than season 4. It is definitely in S tier though. Now after season 4 we got after season 5 we got season 6. Now this is one of the most controversial Ninjago seasons. Now, yes, there are a lot of things to critique about it, but the main reason it's so controversial is because of the ending. And as you guys know, the ending is basically, the season did not exist. Now, I actually don't mind this ending. Now, why do I not mind this ending? In contrast with like most other seasons, really only Jay and Nia have that much character development. The other ninja are just there, and they're not even there for the majority of the season, at least some of them. And Nia and Jay still remember the events of Skybound, so I think that's what's really important about it. Now, it kind of moves Nia's character arc, which would be a good thing, but it kind of doesn't do it that good, because it kind of makes Nia seem like a jerk. Because it makes sense why she's mad, but she's kind of mad at the wrong people, if that makes sense. But I do really like most of the stuff I do. Nadakan, very good villain. His pirate crew, maybe a little forgettable, but I do like the uniqueness they were going for. I think it would probably have to go in B tier. Uh, yeah, I think it's definitely above Rebooted. It just has more going for it. But I don't know if it's above the pilots, man. I do like the focus on Jay. I do really enjoy the focus on Jay. It kind of shows how it's almost like a less dark Last Ronin, if you guys are familiar with the TMNT franchise. Yeah, I'll put it at the top of B tier. Yeah, I think it's a really solid season. Now we get to season 7, and this is where it kind of gets. Oh, actually, we don't get to season 7 because we have a Day of the Departed. Now, Day of the Departed is gonna be a C tier. It's not F. I don't think any Ninjago installment is F tier. But Day of the Departed will probably have to be a D tier. Now, I do really like the concepts. The villains coming back, the whole thing with Wu and Moro is really, really good. Cole's focus, again, has really good ideas, but I just don't like the execution. A big part of why the execution is so bad is because it only was 45 minutes. if it was like double the length, like a movie length, I think it could have done things a lot better. But it's not really just that; it's also the writing. It was around the NINJAGO movie time, so obviously the focus kind of shifted to the movie, and you will see that as well with Hands of Time. I think Hands of Time and Day of the Departed have different problems, but I think Hands of Time for is C tier. Day of the Departed is D tier, and Hands of Time is C tier. I like the additions to the lore Hands of Time provided, and I do think the focus on Nian Kai is pretty solid, but a lot of it is just okay, not really needed, and also it just kind of feels boring at parts. Like it's either just exposition or a lot of action, which can work, but I don't think they pull it off that much. I like a lot of the concepts. Again, I think most concepts, if not all concepts in Ninjago are pretty solid, but it's mainly the execution. Uh, I like how like they brought in play Kai and Nia's parents, and I don't really necessarily know if they should have made them actually be evil. But what I don't like is how they just like did not spend much time with them. And you can see that's a problem with later seasons as well because I'm sorry, because up until Seabound, we never really hear from their parents again. Uh, but this is the season that actually kind of sort of introduced them, at least as characters. So yeah. And what other problems did I have with this? I mean, it felt like it kind of regressed Lodge's character as well. I guess it made sense in the context of the story, but I don't know. I just feel like there were a lot of problems with this. The animation is probably the lowest and the worst animation Ninjago ever had. I just think it doesn't have much going for it in comparison to other Ninjago seasons up here, but it has more going for it than Day of the Departed. Now, after that, we get to my favorite Ninjago season. It's really interesting how Ninjago goes from really lows to really highs. Because what is there not to love about Chance of Garmaton? Like, no, seriously, what is there not to love? This season is like nearly perfect. I'm not even kidding. Like, it just like continues the story in a way that makes sense. But what it adds to the story is also really good. I don't, there's a lot of things, so I cannot like fully break down every season, and I'm not doing that. But I won't even say anything about Sons of Garmaton because I just really love what they did. Now, the redesign is just the thing I'm gonna talk about for. I think it was kind of a smart decision, low key. Now, I don't know which designs I prefer. They're both really good. I do, yeah, I would have wanted some aspects of the old designs to be into the new ones, like Jay's eyebrow scar thingy, but that doesn't really matter all that much. But yeah, Sons of Garmaton, best Ninjago season, not by far, but you know. Now, after Sons of Garmaton, we got not March of the Oni, Handed. Now, I do really like Handed. It's kind of a continuation of the Sons of Garmaton story. I don't think it's as good in my opinion, but it's definitely S tier as well. It just continues the story, and honestly, just the Oni trilogy is just peak. Well, March of the Oni is kind of a mixed bag, but we'll get to that. Now, is it better than those two up here? Honestly, maybe. It probably kind of is. If I'm being completely honest. Now, this could change. A lot of this depends on how I'm feeling. Like you could see drastically different rankings depending on how I'm feeling. But right now I'm feeling like this. Now, March of the Oni. I think March of the Oni would have been a really good conclusion to the show. Obviously, it wasn't the conclusion to the show, but if it was, I think it would have been really good for a conclusion. But overall, it's not that great. I think it kind of suffers from the runtime, but not really in the context of the development of the characters or of our heroes. I think what really pushes the story down in terms of the fact that it was only 4 episodes is the villains. The villains just don't feel as good as they should be. You know what I mean? Like the Overlord, you can see, oh, the Overlord is a blunt villain. Yeah, but the overall mainly works in Ninjago, while the only just don't in this season. And I think a big part of that is just that it's only 4 episodes. Uh, that being said, I do like a lot of the stuff. All the ninja basically has something to do. It wraps it up pretty perfectly. Kai and Nia, not Kai and Nia, Jay and Nia get engaged. It's just a lot of stuff that I like here. It will probably go to the top of B tier. Nah. It is definitely above rebooted. Is it above the pilots though? Hmm. That's really tough for me to say. Yeah, it is above the pilots, but below Skybound. Yeah, that feels right. So that was the original Ninjago run. Well, not really, but basically the Masters of Spinjitzu saga. But then the show got rebooted again. Actually, not even for like the second time. This is probably for the third time because it got rebooted after season 2, semi rebooted after season 7, and then rebooted now after season 10 with season 11. Now I am gonna be counting both uh, chapters of season 11 as one season. Uh, like, in contrast with a lot of other people, I don't actually prefer the ice chapter that much more than the fire chapter. I think definitely the ice chapter is better written, but there's not that big of a difference in my opinion. I do really like the breath of fresh air this season tried to bring in the Ninjago world, but a lot of it just didn't stick for me. It just didn't hit for me. They went for a lot more comedy, which I didn't mind the comedy, but it just didn't compare to older Ninjago comedy, if that makes sense. And just yeah, it just like honestly, like a lot of the stuff it brought into the lore was really good. Like I like the Never Realm, I like the Forbidden Spinjitzu, but it just I don't know. It just didn't. I don't hate this season, but it just didn't feel as good as some of the other season did. Uh, should I put it in C tier? Nah, I don't think I can put it in C tier. Is it above rebooted though? That's what's really interesting about it, because I actually don't. I'm not sure actually. Honestly, no. I'll put it at the bottom of B tier. I think that's a really good place for it. It has some solid stuff going for it, but it's not that great. Let's just be honest. Now, Prime Empire is also not that good, but I do really like the ideas, the aesthetic, and even how the plot progresses in a lot of ways. Uh, I think this is really interesting. Actually, you know what? We'll put Secrets of the season 11, yeah, at C tier, and we'll put Prime Empire at the bottom of B tier. Yeah. That honestly will put above rebooted. Call me crazy, but yes, I do enjoy Prime Empire more than rebooted. I'm gonna get flamed for this, but whatever. Now, we finally, after 2 seasons, get to a really good Ninjago season. Master of the Mountain, season 13. Now this is kind of when I stopped watching Ninjago on TV because I kind of stopped watching TV. But I watched the seasons after that. Uh, I do really like it. It's basically the first season that focuses on Cole, and what's there not to love about it? There are some problems, for sure. Uh, but honestly, I'll just put it above Skybound. Honestly, yeah. You know what I mean? Mm, I don't know if it's better than season 2. Actually, no, I'll say no. I'll put it at the top of B tier. I think maybe at the bottom of A tier, but for now, mm, yeah. For now, I'll put it at the top of B tier. Then we get to a thing that is like sort of a season. The island, I don't consider it a season. I consider it more of a special. I guess it was fine. I didn't really have much of a problem with it. I just struggled to put it above something like the pilots. You know what I mean? I just really struggled to do that. It just didn't stand out for me. And if it doesn't stand out, like what, like bottom of B tier, because I don't really think there was anything wrong with it, but it just did not stand out like at all. So yeah, I mean some things were good for it. That's obviously why it's not like lower, but you know, solid I guess. Now Seabound I actually really enjoy. I really enjoy Seabound. It's not a good. It's not as good as Master of the Mountain, but it is probably better for March of Leone, to be honest. I think Nia's focus was really good in this. The water theme was really good. Nia's sacrifice was really good. A lot of the stuff were really good, honestly. I just don't know if I should put it above March of Leone. Because March of Leone had a lot. Actually, no, I'll put it above the pilots, but not above March of Leone. Because I think March of Leone did more with more characters. Despite the fact that it had like half the runtime, you know. But I do like the villain series a lot. The villain is pretty great. Uh, and then we get to my most controversial opinion, which is gonna be about Crystallized. I do not like Crystallized. I think Crystallized ruined a lot of stuff. The ideas were there, but I think this is one of the few Ninjago seasons that even the ideas were just not all the way great. And if the ideas of an Ninjago season are not all the way great, yeah, you know the execution is gonna be dog shit. And it kinda was. It kinda was. So you already know it's not B tier, it's either C or D. It's not F. I think there's a lot to love about this season. But honestly speaking, I don't know. Because Hands of Time did a lot of stuff, but technically Crystallized did a lot more relevant stuff, like bringing back Harumi, one of my favorite characters. But they absolutely dog shitted that. They did stuff with the Overlord, they did stuff with the Dragon forms. They did a lot of more stuff that mattered, and they had better animation. But honestly, I'll put it below season 11. Like season 11 is just like when you really analyze it, I think season 11 is kind of better. I think it crystallizes probably better than Hands of Time, just because shit mattered more, and I don't know if I like the ideas better, but I don't know. I think when you really size it, when you really weigh the things, yeah, I think crystallized a little bit better than Hands of Time. But yeah, season 11, uh, even season 11 is better than crystallized in my own humble opinion. Now we get to Dragon's Rising, and I do really enjoy Dragon's Rising, guys. I think Dragon's Rising was a breath of fresh air for a Ninjago franchise, and after whatever the fuck Crystallized was, I mean, I'm saying that, but I enjoy basically all of these seasons, but in comparison, Crystallized is Crystallized. Uh, Crystallized is probably my least favorite, but I'm not putting it at the bottom because I recognize it's not the worst. I just really don't like it because the fact it's bad has the more consequences to the story. You know what I mean? Like, okay, Day of the Departed wasn't that good. That doesn't influence the entirety of the story that much. But Crystallized being not that good does. You know what I mean? But whatever. I think this is season 1 and I think this is season 2. I could be wrong. Yeah, this is because this has Shutterspin. Yeah, okay. Uh, season 1. What do you think about season 1? It was really solid. I mean, I don't know. There's just a lot to talk about. It introduced old stuff and it brought new stuff. I think it's probably above Masters of the Mountain. Uh, you know what we will do? We will do. I think. Let me actually think about this. I think we will do this. Like, looking at this, I'm actually kind of feeling it. Now, this may seem wild. But I'm actually kind of feeling this. Okay, so guys, these are my rankings. Now, I do even myself agree that some of them are a little bit dodgy, but right now, for the most part, I do agree with these rankings. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with them, and as always, make sure to like and subscribe. See you all in the next video.